Tonight on CTV News, thousands of Māori performers descend on the city for New Zealand's biggest cultural festival. Substandard earthquake repairs are back in the spotlight, and the rebuild of our city. We've got a special report.
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening. Thousands of performers have descended on Christchurch City to celebrate the Te Matatini Festival. It's the first time the national event has come to the city since 1972. And our reporter Jared McCulloch was there for the official opening.
It's the biggest event of its type, and it's happening here in Christchurch. The finishing touches are nearly ready for the first round of the Te Matatini National Kapa Haka Festival, held in North Hagley Park, where nearly 1,800 performers will take to the stage to show their skills. And the events director says it's great to see the competition come together.
I'm very excited. We've been waiting a long time for this to start. 2 years of planning, 2 years of preparation, a lot of meetings, and we're now there, and tomorrow we go live on our competition and we can sit back and watch the very best kapa haka in the world.
45 teams are taking part in this event, with regional championships already taking place around the country. Now they're competing for the top prize.
This is the elite of kapa haka performance. You can't get any better than this because these people have come through the ranks. They've shown that they are good enough to win their regionals or to be placed in their regional finals, and now they're going to compete against each other on our national stage.
The theme for this year's festival is A Loving Heart, to acknowledge Canterburyans coming together following the earthquakes. The kapa haka officially kicks off tomorrow, and Darren Apanui says the teams have been training for this day.
We've had 2,500 performers that are coming through. They've all been in the gyms for the last 6 months getting themselves ready for a great event. There's a big commitment that they put in. So you're looking at about 6 to 8 months of very hard out training, not only in terms of their fitness but their voice control and just their health and well-being.
It's been a long time since Christchurch has hosted this event, taking centre stage at the QE2 site back in 1972. And Darren says the show is open to everyone thanks to technology.
For those people that don't understand what's getting said on stage, we have a translation service, and you can bring your smartphone along and you can dial into the website, or you can dial into the radio broadband of 103.3 FM. And what they will do is that while they're listening to the singing and the haka, there will be people translating it in English so they actually understand what's going on. So there should be no barrier for people to come along.
The festival is on until Sunday, when the finals will be held to find the best of the best in kapa haka. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
Well, they were opposing the RSA's liquor licence earlier this week, but now the body corp of an apartment building being built across the road has backed down, and the RSA could not be happier.
With just a few finishing touches left, the Christchurch RSA members are looking forward to moving into their new $6.5 million building this month. And once their bar is open, the members will be able to celebrate. Earlier this week it was touch and go whether anyone would be able to enjoy a drink at the opening, when the apartment block being built across the road opposed the idea altogether. The RSA has room for 423 people in the bar, restaurant and function room upstairs. Despite the RSA's unblemished record spanning nearly 100 years, the body corporate was concerned the RSA would be too noisy if its patrons were allowed to drink till 1 a.m, even after the RSA offered to keep everyone inside after 10. This is despite another apartment block right next door to the RSA who believed it would be good for business.
People will use every opportunity to object to what they perceive as noise.
After compromising again, the opposing body corporate has now given its blessing. This comes after the RSA agreed to close its bar at midnight, 4 days a week, from Monday to Wednesday and on Sundays. This is the RSA's flagship Christchurch building. After a year of construction, the finished building will be a grand memorial. 11 fins will line the front of the building, representing the 11 World War I battles. Plaques from memorials destroyed in the earthquakes will also feature in the design. And now all parties can celebrate the opening with a drink. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Will the Queensland fruit fly make its way to Christchurch? Well, not if this new batch of four-legged recruits can help. Take a look.
With growing concerns about the spread of fruit flies in Auckland, new recruits to the biosecurity team at Christchurch Airport are just in time. 2 dogs and 3 handlers focusing on biosecurity detection have started with the job of sniffing out materials containing fruit fly and other exotic pests or diseases. The new team brings the Ministry of Primary Industries dog detector team to 40, Enough, it says, to scan all international passengers and baggage arriving in New Zealand ports. The ministry says the recent fruit fly concerns will have passengers subjected to stricter biosecurity risk assessment. The new team follows last year's recruitment of Jet, a dog trained to scare away birds from the jet engines of planes.
Well, serious concerns about earthquake-related repairs in the city. Are they substandard? The Prime Minister says he has concerns over some repairs of some earthquake-damaged houses in the city. Here's Marcus Gibbs.
EQC has been tasked with repairing thousands of the region's earthquake-damaged homes, but just how many are up to par once the repairs have been signed off? The Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment has launched an investigation into the quality of the repairs, following a survey of 14 houses, in which 13 were of a poor quality. Prime Minister John Key says that statistic is rather concerning.
The vast bulk of them have actually been done satisfactorily, but there is, of course, the fact that the sample is 13 of the 14, that's a worrying number, and we just need to look a little bit closer on that.
The Prime Minister says those repairs need to be fixed.
Some repairs have been undertaken at a standard that's not acceptable, and where that's the case, we definitely need to have those remedied. 65,000 homes have been repaired under the EQC program, and the PM is confident shoddy repairs won't be a widespread problem in Canterbury in the years ahead. A lot of people I know that have at least anecdotally come up to me in my time in Christchurch who've had their repairs completed under the EQC program, generally by one of the Fletcher's contractors, have actually said they're really happy.
Discounting rumours of another ordeal similar to leaky homes. Instead, he says the Canterbury Home Repairs program ensures homeowners won't cheaply repair their homes and pocket the rest of the cash.
In the short term, that might be quite good for that particular homeowner, but long term leaves a systemic problem. In fact, the repairs have been undertaken to restore the property to the level it was prior to the earthquake. So I think it would be a much bigger risk if the program wasn't there.
However, the PM is hinting he will be looking closely at the results of the MB investigation, adding that if there is an issue, the government would take a closer look. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, Dion Swiggs from rebuildchristchurch.co.nz gives us an update on where he thinks Christchurch is heading when it comes to the rebuilds. Welcome back to CTV News. Well, more than 10% of hillside owners have rejected full compensation for their red zone properties. That compares to nearly every red zone in the city accepting theirs.
Despite an extended offer, hillside red zone owners have been more likely to reject Crown compensation than other areas of Christchurch. 407 out of the 455 owners in the quake-damaged Port Hills took up the offer of compensation, which expired last week. This is 89% compared to the 98% of red zoners across Christchurch who took up the offer. A number of counterclaims have been made by Port Hill residents unhappy with compensation amounts. Sarah says the area zoning was more complicated and took longer than for flatland, as it was determined by the risk to life of potential rockfall, cliff collapse and landslip. The Court of Appeal ruled last month owners with restricted access to a property because of rock or land damage would not be entitled for a total loss claim with their insurer. Owners of vacant, commercial and uninsured properties in the Port Hills red zones are yet to receive a Crown offer. Dara says public consultation on the future use of the Christchurch red zones will begin later this year.
And joining me in the studio now with an update on this and more is Dion Swiggs from rebuildchristchurch.co.nz. Good evening, Dion.
G'day, Chris.
Thanks for joining us. First question, in terms of the Port Hills, some certainty, at least there's clarification. Either you take the offer or you don't. Red zone properties, we know the outline of that now. What's your analysis of this?
Yeah, so now we've got the red zone offer has been complete, so no more offers. We've got about 57 people in the Port Hills that have decided to stay, but there's 417 people that have decided to take the offer, which means there's 417 people that have residential properties that will be demolished. Sarah just released it, they've actually demolished 100 properties in the red zone, Port Hills red zone, over the last couple of years, so there's still another 300 to go. So there's a lot of work going on, but at least it's certainty.
Yes, there is work going on, but as you say, still a lot to go, still a lot of houses to come down too.
Yes, yeah, so about 300 more in the Port Hills red zone, and I think there's about 1,500 residential red zone and the flatland houses to go.
Would you say the speed of the efforts when it comes to Port Hill red zone, including the demolition. Has it been fast enough, do you think? Are you surprised by either the speed or lack of, Dion Swiggs?
The speed is definitely one of those things where it is very complicated to demolish these houses. It could have gone a lot faster. I mean, just get these houses down because some of them have been very unsafe. But we are getting them down. Now that there's a bit of certainty around exactly what houses are going to stay and what houses are going to go, I think we'll start to see a lot more speed up in that.
Let's discuss infrastructure. Some positive news depending on what way you look at it when it comes to the so-called main arterial route for those over in Banks Peninsula. Give me the latest.
Yeah, so we've got the Sumner Road arterial link there. They've just announced that it's going to be repaired. Some amazing rocks on that road. And the big problem there, Chris, is that it's the rockfall from the rocks above. So we went down to Port Littleton and actually had a look. There's a massive amount of rocks that they need to take away from that hill to open that. But it's really important to get that road up and running because it's a strategic link for dangerous goods coming from the port, so they don't have to close Littleton Tunnel, so that it will keep the whole flow of the area running.
We got, and I know you got to on your Rebuild website, a lot of people interested in knowing exactly about this. Were you surprised by just how interested people were by one road on the hill? 30,000
people saw this. It was absolutely incredible, but I think a lot of people, also cyclists, are really keen because it's a really strategic road. People go up Dyers Pass and then go through Littleton and come around Sumner. So for recreation, for all of those other reasons, I think this is a very strategic thing, and it's really good to get it done.
Other things on the go at the moment. I was at the Canterbury Boat Sheds Cafe at lunchtime today. You cannot help but notice progress there with that footbridge. I'm always trying to remember it was there beforehand. It was there beforehand, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. So
yeah.
Antigua Boat Shed footbridge has finally gone back. It was really munted after the earthquakes. It's going to be reopened in 6 weeks. So it went back down. They laid it down about 3 days ago. In 6 weeks, they're going to open that. So a real good strategic route again for cyclists and things through the city. But it also sort of is the start of the inner city red zone. The watermark, if you know the Avon River precinct. So that's the start of it, and that goes right throughout the city. So and again, another symbolic part for the city's recovery.
Dion Swiggs, some people are worried, and a lot of people have phoned me on News Talks about this, about their properties perhaps coming under another survey from the government, at least 100 more properties that may have been damaged. What is this all about? Because people are worried now that their earthquake repairs from their insurance companies could be underway, or their rebuilds or replacement of their entire homes, but they're being told, just hold off, the government wants to do yet another survey. That creates a lot of uncertainty in the market and for people with insurance issues and want their own home to be rebuilt or replaced.
I mean, let's be clear with this. The people that were surveyed in the initial 14, they were all in dispute in the first instance. So those ones were in dispute. So 13 of those were found that they had some sort of problem. One of those properties was from the insurance companies, and that was a minor compliance issue. The big problems here with the EQC foundation work. So I think this is where we're going to get a little bit unstuck. So we've got MB guidelines. MB guidelines were designed for homeowners who were cashed out to go and repair their own home. Now, if I was my own home repairing it, I would probably do that up to a very good standard, even under the MB guidelines.
Right.
This is the exemption work. So if you've got exemption, you need to be very clear with your contractor who's doing that work to make sure that it's actually up to the building code, not just under the exemption for MB. So if you're moving forward, that's what we need to be looking forward to.
All right, also information out in the last week or so, Red Cross does a fantastic job, by the way. They have done a great job when it comes to the earthquake recovery effort in the city. I'm surprised they released a media release saying we're going to be holding workshops for those people interested in knowing about the effects of the earthquakes. My initial response was a bit late, but you think it's quite timely?
I think this, exactly timely. I mean, if you look at all the study that's been done, and this is really good now that it's happening, 10 years is around the time for psychosocial recovery. So I think 4 years on, people are still struggling with this, and if they can self-identify that they would actually like to learn a little bit more, it's part of their recovery as well. So everybody goes through recovery at a different phase, but we're going to be still seeing people that need recovery work from the earthquakes in 10 years' time.
All right, also information just out recently, crunch numbers for me. How well are we doing in terms of earthquake repairs? How well are we doing in terms of insurance? You've got some new data that suggests, well, depending on what way you look at it, it's good and bad, Dion.
Yeah, so we did the crunch the numbers for 4 years on. So I looked at all of the different statistics that the EQC and the insurance companies and brought it all together to try and make some sense. There's a good relay of that on Rebuild Christchurch. But in short, EQC have settled 98% of their claims, but that's a little bit misleading because their claims, now when we talk to properties, they've actually done 63,000 undercap properties, so that's through the Flexures work, They've cash settled 67,000 other properties, which is just under $15,000 work. There's still 10,250 properties that are still yet to go. They aren't settled. 5,000 of those are in the Canterbury Home Recovery Program. I think about 2,000 of those are in dispute of some form. I think 1,500 of those are ready to go, and then you've got another about 2,500 that are in some sort of form of dispute, and we don't know exactly. I can't figure that out yet. In terms of insurance companies, we're about 57% the way through with insurance companies. But remember, I think about 45% of those were cash settled from the red zone payouts, which the government imposed on the red zone. So now we've got, I think there was 4,000 properties have been rebuilt or repaired. About half of those is half mix on repairs and rebuilds at the moment. But in overall in the insurance market for residential properties, we've had $13 billion worth of cash settlements after 4 years. Settlements, not cash settlements. But we've had about $6 billion worth of work done. So there's still $7 billion worth of work in the residential sector alone to go right now from just cash from the settlements, and there's still a lot of settlements, so there's still about 40% worth of settlements to go within the insurance companies. And then if you're looking at the commercial sector, we had 1,260 so far demolitions within the central city. We still have about 110 to go, and we've got about 150 odd buildings that have been rebuilt and about 100 on the way at the moment.
Did you say there's still 110 buildings to come down in central Christchurch?
Yeah, either come down fully or partially.
The good news is I saw one today that's coming down. I was so excited to film it on my cell phone. Dion Swiggs from rebuildchristchurch.co.nz. Nice to see you. Well, still to come here on CTV News, a bit of sports news for you. The Tactics get back into training again, hopefully to win a game, and your region's weather. Welcome back to CTV News. They may not be playing this week, but the Canterbury Crusaders are certainly keeping busy. Here's more on that story.
This week's bye for the Crusaders doesn't mean there aren't things happening to keep the team focused on its future. Robbie Fruin underwent surgery today for a plate in his right arm after fracturing it playing against the Chiefs on Saturday night. This will put him out for recovery for about 4 to 5 months, a disappointment to both him and the team, who are wishing him a speedy recovery. Meanwhile, Crusaders back Tom Taylor has announced he will move to France to play for the Bayonne club at the end of the year. Taylor says it's been a tough decision to leave, but the 3-year contract is a great opportunity and he's looking forward to the next chapter of his career. Taylor's departure follows quickly on the heels of Willie Hines, who announced last week he would be moving to English team Gloucester at the end of the season. After this week's break, the Crusaders will take on the Lions for their third game of the season on Saturday the 14th of March.
Well, after their loss against the Northern Mystics this week, the Mainland Tactics are hoping for their first win of the season this weekend when they play the Southern Steel. Gordon Finlater has the details.
The Tactics were back at training today ahead of their Saturday afternoon matchup against the Southern Steel in Invercargill. It's a quick turnaround for the side who had their season opener against the Northern Mystics on Monday night. Coach Sue Hawkins put Monday night's loss down to short drop-offs in display.
Yeah, look, it was interesting on the Monday night. We had some probably patches of 2 minutes in each quarter that they snuck back. So I think we started really well and we built through the quarters, but there was that lapse at different times. When our voice goes out of the game, that's when we have our lapse. So we've pinpointed that, and our voice will be even louder this week because that gives them the energy all the way through the quarter.
Young goal attack Gemma Hazeldine put in one of the more notable performances during the Mystics match, with her creativity and work ethic not only impressing the coach, but helping the side get to an early lead.
Gemma gives us lots of creativity in that circle, and I think people underestimate what she can actually do. She's a very smart cookie, and I'm really impressed with what I see with her.
After spending last season with the Pulse, the local youngster has returned home with the hope of game time with the Tactics. That hope became a reality on Monday with her first game in the ANZ Championship. Hazeldine gained many plaudits for her performance, but she's remained grounded and thinks that with the nerves from her first start done and dusted, we can now expect even more in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I won't be as nervous. It was first game, first start, first kind of game ever. So yeah, no, I will be a lot better.
This weekend's opposition also had a first-up loss, going down to the New South Wales Swifts in a tight contest. With the Steel also looking for their first win in the comp, the Tactics will need to be on their game. The coach is confident, though, that the side can cause their opposition problems with the right game plan.
We've looked at what we think their game plan will be and then counteract that. We will certainly go in with respect with what they did, because, you know, the team that didn't take it to the Swifts like they did, right up into the last, say, 4 minutes, have got a lot of ability. So we know that. Our pre-season against them, it was tough. So we'll be respecting them, but we'll be, going for our tactics to work their magic and to disrupt them.
Saturday's match gets underway at 4:10. Gordon Findlater, CTV Sport.
And good luck to the Mystics. Now time for the region's weather.
Let's take a look at your weather. Timaru, you were sitting on 21 today. Temuka and Geraldine, a warmer day for you on 24 degrees. Ashburton 21 was your high today. Methven slightly warmer on 23. Rikaya 21 degrees. Darfield, you hit a high of 23 today. Leeston and Rolleston sharing a cool 22. Lincoln and Christchurch 22 was your high also. Over in Akaroa now, there was some cloud for you, but it was cool on 21 degrees. Further north, Kaiapoi, Rangiora and Amberley, you shared a high of 22. Golverton, Hamner Springs and Cheviot. It was a warmer day for you all here today, sitting nicely on 24 degrees. And at the top, Kaikoura 21 today. Let's take a look at tomorrow's weather now, starting with Timaru. A fine Thursday ahead for you with high cloud increasing and warm northwesterly winds. Your overnight low is 14, tomorrow's high 28 degrees. Ashburton fine and sunny with high cloud increasing and northeasterly winds in the morning, but that'll change to northwesterlies later on in the day, but it'll still be warm. Tonight's low is 14, your high tomorrow 28. A fine and warm Thursday in store for Christchurch with northeasterly winds and some scattered high cloud throughout the day. It'll be 14 degrees overnight with a high of 26 tomorrow. Kaikoura tomorrow, fine and sunny with northeasterly breezes, making for a rather warm day ahead. Tonight's low is 13, tomorrow's high 26 degrees. Looking at the other areas around the region now, Temuka and Geraldine, there'll be some cloud all day for you with a warm 27. Methven and Rikaya, a fine morning with some cloud coming through in the afternoon, 27 for you also. Darfield, Leeston, Rolleston and Lincoln, it's a similar picture for you all. Tomorrow, fine, turning to cloud later on, 27 degrees. Over in Akaroa, some fine weather at first, then some cloud, slightly cooler on 26 for your Thursday. Meanwhile, Kaiapoi, Rangiora and Amberley, it'll be a fine day tomorrow and cloud later on, 27 degrees. Golverton, Hamner Springs and Cheviot. A warm day also for you with some cloud creeping through in the afternoon, 29 degrees. Looking ahead for Canterbury now, there'll be a period of strong gusty northerlies and some rain on Friday morning, but winds will change, turning northwesterly during the afternoon and becoming fine. Expect some southwesterly breezes by nightfall. But it will be cooler on Saturday with a period of cloud and brief rain during the morning. They'll turn dry for some time with northerlies, but the southwesterlies will become strong and gusty during the afternoon with more rain developing. There will be showers at first for Sunday, but that will clear, becoming fine and sunny with gusty southwesterlies dying out, turning northeasterly later on. As for Monday, it will be mostly cloudy with southwesterlies dying out and northeasterlies developing. And it's looking to be mostly fine and sunny next Tuesday with some northeasterly winds. And that is your weather for Wednesday.
And do join me on News Talk ZB tomorrow. Education Minister Hekia Parata is my special guest. And that is CTV News for Wednesday, though. You have a great night.
supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.